right. Welcome to Jewelry is Your Side Hustle, the podcast. Lindsay, what do you got to say to us today?
Hello. So it's Lindsay deOliveira. It's
Dial- deOliveira. Is it like,
deOliveira. It's quite the mouthful. Um, learn. It's one of those names that I'm like, my kid will learn to spell it when she's a teenager. It's fine.
it's a
Fine.
great last name. Like, really, it has a lot of panache. So let's
It
just go
does.
with that. I'm happy to
It's
meet.
a Portuguese last name,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, I'm originally from the Boston area, and there's a lot of Portuguese people up there.
I would never
And
know that.
yeah, there's a city in Massachusetts that's like little Portugal, basically. And
Well, I love Portugal. I have been there a couple times, and my son speaks fluent Portuguese, which that
right,
is because there's Portuguese is all over like the world because they were sailors. So he works in countries in Africa and then down in South America, and then of course in Europe and Portugal, that he has to have that language as a skill. So I'm very proud of him, and
wow.
I've heard it a lot because when
Yep.
I remember when he was learning, he was practicing, and it has a little bit of that Spanish flair. So I
Right.
do understand some of the words because I speak Spanish, this much, and so, but it has that unusual kind of a sound, which I don't know where that came from. Did that come from China or somewhere? Do they cross the languages
I
somehow?
have no
Oh,
idea.
it's a story, I'm sure. Because
I probably. So it was funny because my maiden name was French. Everyone could pronounce it. It was easy peasy. And then when I got married, I took on the d'Oliveira. And now that we live in Georgia now. Living in Georgia, no one can say it, nobody can spell it. It has caused all sorts of chaos just over a name. And what's really interesting is there's not really any Portuguese people down here. All the time we get, oh, you're white. What an interesting response. Because nobody knows what the name is. And it's like the weirdest. It's so bizarre.
De Oliveira.
The
Yeah.
Oliveira.
If you
Yep.
get that olive in there, and that's easy.
I know. I
I
know.
know
And
your background, by the way, is beautiful.
oh,
So
thank
you
you.
look like a picture. Like it is like you are like a movie star sitting there. I
My
am
like
so
cozy filming corner
yeah,
that
it's great. It's
my
got
my
everything going on. It's
my
got a
toddler
plan.
likes to make a ruckus over here and likes to hang out. So, and this poor kid. So my daughter's name is Isla, and I originally named my business after her, but it wasn't like sitting right with me because no one can pronounce her last name. No one could pronounce her first name. It's Isla. No, nobody could say it, spell it, none of the things. So originally, I was trying to come up with a business name, and it is a baby company, and we'll get into it. And the name was Isla May, and I'm like, okay, it's a very boutique name, but I was like, that is not the company name. So eventually, as things progressed, and I was able to, come up with what the name is now. It was just a very interesting take because we gave her that name, but I'm like, no one can say it, no one can spell it. This is a dumpster fire.
Well, it's like Isla, right? It's an island. Does that mean island?
Yeah, it
Is
means island. So it's Isla, Isla, and the S is silent. So
right, Isla. Yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's very I was stuck with the name gay and it caused huge havoc in my life,
Wow.
giant havoc. And so I've kind of added the sugar. It was a long story, but Facebook made me do it. And
Right.
it's worked out great. So she'll come up with how it all works in her world. And it just makes her more special. It makes her unique.
It
And
does. It
that's
does.
something to celebrate. It's not just another Janet.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty comical how we grow up with our names and how much that can affect us.
Yes.
And it's it's one of those things like when you're thinking about naming a child or a business, right? You have to
Yes.
think about all the things. You have to do
Yes.
all the Googling. Yeah, it's just It's a whole
I
process.
think a whole name for a business is really important because it has to have something that people can remember and really
Mhm.
find. So they got to be able to spell that.
Yeah.
Because I even I'm a not a great speller. There's a few words I'm always like, is that right? Like, I'm sorry, I have that like E and A like difference. Is that
Yep.
right? Every time. I don't
Yep.
know. After you would think after like 60 years of spelling something, you'd be able to get it
Right.
down, but there's just a little twitch when I learned it somehow in my brain. It like has a little bump. Like, think about that. You
I
always spell
have
it
a
wrong.
I have a hard time when like a business spells their name in a funky way because you're never going to find the business online.
I know that doesn't make any sense to me. So
No.
branding is really important. As entrepreneurs, it's really upon us to really think of all those things and branding our name. I was just recently switched everything over to Sugar Gay Isber because that sugar just kind of makes it look better to me. It's like a little bit more of a chunk of a word. And the Isber is a long old name for me, and I don't even feel like an Isber anymore. So
Really?
it's a name from when I was married my husband before this one.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, who is that? Who is that Isber? Who is she? Oh, that's
Who
me.
is she?
Not
Now,
that bad.
did you keep to did you choose to keep the name because you had been that name for an
Yes,
extended
yes. Because my brand was all gay Isber. So it all worked. It's okay. I'm just two separate people. I got my business hat on. No, enough about me. This is really a show about you. I want to hear about your journey and how you got here.
yeah.
So how did you get started? So you were in Boston and you moved to Georgia and that's where this happened? Or tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
story.
So I spent 10 years as a licensed optician
Oh,
in in the Boston area. I moved down to Georgia. I not a winter kind of gal. I like the warmth that it called to me. I always knew I would move south. And I will say though, I miss the food and like the melting pot of culture up there. That I do miss.
Boston's
But you know what?
amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's fun, just not in the winter time. I'll visit any time of year minus the winter time. So I was up there doing the whole optician thing, but I knew I wanted to move south. My sister ended up down here for work and I visited. It was like 70 degrees in December. So I was like,
I'm loving
done
this.
deal. I'm going.
Well,
And at
it
that,
helped that you had a sister there, right? Like, where
it
in
did.
Georgia are you?
So I am just north of Columbus, Georgia. So we are about an hour and a half, like southwest of Atlanta on the Alabama border.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mhm.
Beautiful area. Oh my gosh.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Oh
We're
my
right on the
gosh.
Chattahoochee.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. The world is there. Like you're right
It's
there in the pulse
awesome.
of the planet.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of like movie filming here. There's a lot of new
Right.
businesses. There's a ton of restaurants and our downtown looks like a movie set. It's just really cute. So like James Franco's in town this week filming and just went whitewater rafting on Friday. Like it's just, I don't know, it's a cool area. It's been fun. It's been interesting and we get a lot of transplants because we're right next to what was Fort Benning is now called Fort Moore. So you get transplants from all over. So you don't feel so isolated, like just living in the South. Like you do end up with people from all over the country, which is kind of cool. So I had
It makes me want
started,
to live there. I'm telling you. I'm like, wow, this sounds
they're
amazing.
paying people to move here now.
Wow.
Yeah,
Don't
they're
tell
paying
everybody in
remote
Austin because
workers.
everybody in Austin will flee. Like,
Yeah.
oh, in Houston too. Oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of
Texas is
people.
getting expensive.
Anyway, all right. Well, that's not the
Yes.
fun part of the
But yeah,
story.
so
But the fun part of the story is you moved.
I moved and I had just started dating my now husband before I left. So
Oh,
like
so
we
he
had
came with you?
it's a weird one. So we were friends. He was in a rock band. That's how I met him. He was in a touring rock band. And so that's how I met him. We were
Are
friends
you a
for a couple of
groupie? Were you a groupie?
I suppose I was a groupie, yes. Yes. I rejected his dates for quite some time because I was not going to date somebody in a rock band. It just
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
there.
always the story, but it never works out. They're more
Yeah, it
fun.
never worked out. Yep. So we went on a couple dates and he knew I was moving. He knew I always wanted to move and like he was so sweet about it and was like helping me look at apartments online and he was so sweet about it. So I ended up moving and he's like, "Well, when can I visit you?" I was like, "Give me a few months. Like let me do my thing. Let me settle in." I
Oh,
was like, "I
that
don't want
that
to
was
be."
the hook right there. It's like,
I
oh, she
know.
doesn't want me.
Yeah.
Oh, I better do something quick.
Yeah. So he ended up visiting a few months later, and that week he decided he was moving in,
Huh?
moving down here,
Ah,
quit the band, got a regular, real job, like
ah,
totally just, we were married 9 months later.
oh, he
Um,
changed for you. He wanted you
yeah,
so bad. He would have done
yeah,
anything.
he's so sweet.
That's
So,
lovely. That's a great part of the story,
yeah,
really.
yeah, it was funny because like our whole relationship developed over the phone, basically, going from
Oh,
like
that's
friendship
that's
to more.
romantic. That's a
Yeah.
romantic way to be, and kind of old school, much better story than you met somebody over the internet kind of a thing. So good for you. Good for you.
I was surprised I didn't end up meeting my husband online. I was very surprised that didn't happen. Yeah, so that's how we met. And
Well,
so I
you're
moved down
cute. I'm
here.
sure I'm sure he is feels so lucky.
He's awesome. He's such a good person that I he puts me and my daughter above everything and everyone else and
Oh,
just
no, I'm in
yeah.
love with him already.
Oh,
I
he's incredible. He's
oh,
fun. He's like the likable one out of the two of us. Like he's
oh,
everybody loves him. He's just easy to like adore and just he's awesome. So I was working as an optician when I got down here
okay.
and
Which is a
COVID
great
hit.
job. Great
Yeah.
job.
It was a good job. It was a great job. I really got nerdy with it and was working in ophthalmology practice and doing like the more difficult troubleshooting weird cases and like I'm not someone that can totally I like having goals and I like having challenges. And so I decided to take on the more challenging aspect of opticianry and I enjoyed it. I mean, I did it for a long time. So during COVID, I totally got like burnt out from people and being in customer service. And then I got pregnant and I was just so over it. So we decided that if we were to have a child, we wanted to be I wanted to be as involved as
Right.
possible. Right.
Right.
And because I didn't really grow up with my mom part of my
Present.
life.
Hmm.
Yeah. So for me, it was like I would want to make sure we have a relationship, and I didn't want my child in daycare if I could help it. So
Right.
just for like at least the first year, I was like, let's try
Right.
this. So
Yeah.
I became a stay-at-home first-time mom.
It's the
And
best thing you can do for your child. I totally was there, so I get that.
yeah, it was I'm so appreciative of that time together and I wouldn't have given that up for anything. And some really cool, beautiful stuff ended up coming out of it. So I was pregnant, I gave birth, and literally being wheeled from the delivery room to the recovery room, I got whacked with postpartum depression.
Oh,
Like
honey, I'm so
back,
sorry.
yeah, it was horrible. It was like it was like
You
boom.
felt it right then occurring, huh? Something in your
Yeah,
brain just switched.
it did. It very much did. It was like the craziest, weirdest thing. Like the where your thoughts go and what feelings are not there was like equally concerning. And I'm a very lucky person that my OB sees patients 2 weeks postpartum, where traditionally you don't see them until 6 weeks. So I was lucky, and my daughter's pediatrician very much knew something was wrong with me and was like, we really need to get help. Like, you need to call your doctor like today. Like, her pediatrician she knew something was up and she was awesome. So I ended up seeing my OB, getting on medication. and I got into therapy as well, which I still do. I love me some good therapy, but I do the like the cognitive behavioral therapy versus like it's not just like talk therapy. It's like, okay, like what habits and mindset shit, like how can I actively work on this, right?
Right.
That's kind of what's always been working for me. So I had postpartum depression. I was at that point starting to get help. And then we discovered my poor daughter was a colicky baby that had reflux. Oh, it
The
was a
worst.
time. It was a time. So my husband, oh yeah, my husband and I were up every night. All like it was, I was so desperate. Like I don't even know how to, like, if there was a bigger word than desperate to emphasize the feeling we felt of this child needs to take a
Despair.
pacifier.
I think despair is the
Despair.
next
That's
word
a good
down.
one. I like that.
Yeah.
Despair. Yeah. We needed the crying to stop. We needed her to take a pacifier. Nobody was sleeping. We um we tried so many pacifiers. So it was just every company's claiming to have the best pacifier. And, I'm sending my husband to the store at 2 a.m. He's a saint, I swear. So we're going through all these different pacifiers, and it became like I realized I was talking to all these other parents. It became like a running joke of like we all ended up with pacifier reject drawers. All of us. We all dumped all this money on pacifiers, and like our baby hated this one, maybe we didn't like that. Like it was just an added stressor to a time that we really didn't need an added
Was
stressor.
out of your control too, because it's nothing that
Totally.
you could like look at it and go, well,
Totally.
what's wrong with this one? What's wrong with this one? Why doesn't she
Right.
like it? Like,
It was crazy. Yes. And there wasn't like real information out there about I was like, why are so many pacifier shapes? Like, why? It
right.
was just like, it was so confusing trying to navigate pacifiers.
Yes, I get
It
it.
was insane. So I was like, this needs to be easier on parents. And that's kind of where that light bulb moment hit. I was like, okay, she likes this pacifier, but I don't like the fact that we have this problem with it. And I don't like that it's plastic. I don't like this and I don't like this about it, but it was the shape that she liked. And I was like, you know what? There needs to be a plastic-free, eco-friendly pacifier. That's what parents want. That is easier to clean. That's what we actually need. And I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, what pacifier nipple would I do? Because I was looking into eco-friendly pacifiers. I was like, none of these are cute for starters. Like, and sometimes that's what you live for is dressing up your little baby in a cute little outfit and taking a picture. And then when they have this really ugly pacifier in their mouth, it's just like, and this sounds so vain, but like there are newborn days that sometimes that is the win of the day. Like that just is, right? So I was like, this is just chaotic. So we need a better pacifier. We need one that's easier to clean. We need one that's cuter, plastic free. But I was like, what pacifier nipple would we do? So
What would
that's
you do?
where,
That's
right?
so curious. As a product designer, I'm sitting here running through the gamut. Like, I
What would you
don't
do?
know. I
So
don't
I
know.
ended up inventing the Soothe Beginnings pacifier that is interchangeable.
Let me see it. You got to have it.
Of course they have.
Of course you have it.
So
Okay.
you've got a cap and shield, and it comes with 3 interchangeable nipples.
Oh, that's brilliant. That way, it's
So
like
you can
their
actually
mouth
see.
kind of grows too. So a smaller one for when they're first born.
No, they're the different shapes. So you have
Ah,
that
a
more
real
orthodontic
bulbous.
shape, that cylindrical shape, and then this is actually what a nursing pacifier is supposed to look like.
Oh, very small
Because
too.
every baby has a different preference. You're trying to
Yes.
go through the feeding journey and, either you're nursing or you're trying to find the bottle they take,
Right.
and the pacifiers don't go on that journey with you. So that's where I was like, "Ooh, let's have this
Oh,
idea.
oh,
Let's make this interchangeable." And yeah, so you can figure out which one your baby likes. But then I was like, "Oh my gosh, making it interchangeable means I can now make teething nipples and weaning nipples as well.
Wow. What does a neat weaning nipple look like? What would the
The
difference be?
the weaning nipples get a little bit smaller, therefore less satisfying. So you're not doing the whole cold turkey approach with, because a lot of parents these days don't like the cold turkey situation. So they try to gently wean their babies off pacifiers. So the
Oh, it's
nipples
hard. I know. I know
yeah,
that's
it's a
hard.
pain in the butt.
Yeah,
So they
we
gradually get smaller.
yeah, my
Yeah.
3-year-old granddaughter was weaned off of a pacifier about a year ago. But
Yep.
it was like I think they probably had like 30 pacifiers with them at all times because it was like
Oh, yeah.
the problem. Like
Yeah.
that one, yeah, that one didn't she didn't like that one. Oh, she didn't like that one.
Right.
It was very
Right.
picky. It was very, very
And that's how that goes. They have their preferences. So
yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm on this convenience mission for parents, and this is what they're going to want and like and make life easier on new parents. The very first place I went was a safety consultant, a product safety consultant.
That's
So
smart. It's for
yeah, I was like, give me
babies.
the lowdown. Can you even do an interchangeable pacifier? Is it safe? What about choking hazard? What about, I'm like thinking of all the things, and you don't know what you don't know. And I needed to understand the regulations, the testing, all of that. As a mom, I was very horrified to learn how low the bar is for pacifier safety in our country. There are pacifiers that are, and I'm sure you've seen, let me show you. So I'm sure you've seen these pacifiers.
Yes.
These are suffocation hazards.
Oh my God.
You
You know,
can
is
you
that the
cannot put
saddest
these in a
thing
baby's crib.
ever? Because it's
Hmm.
so big around the edge, or what makes it what
Stuffed
is
animal. Stuffed
gets on
animal.
their face, gets on their nose, gets on something that they can't breathe.
Are not safe for sleep. And then the weight of the animal actually pushes up the pacifier on
Ah,
their palate and really affects oral development.
oh my God. Throw that
So how do
away.
you, as a parent, trust a company that would sell a suffocation hazard, knowing babies use these to sleep, even though the instructions say don't use it for sleep,
There's no
you're
need
still going
for it.
to.
There's no
So
need for it.
that was
It's horrible.
disheartening.
My biggest fear
Um,
is to be suffocated, so that scares me.
and then you've seen these pacifiers,
Yes. Oh, yes.
the natural rubber ones,
Yeah.
they're latex.
Oh,
That's
that's
latex. And
ah,
latex is one of the allergens that the more you're
right.
exposed to it, the more likely you are to become allergic to it.
Bad, 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 bad.
It also breaks down, even if you just leave it out in UV rays, it starts breaking down. So it's not heat safe. It breaks down easy and quickly. So these tend to break off a lot, and now you've got a choking hazard.
Yeah, and it could be in the child's body too if a piece of that chunks off. Oh my God.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a bad one.
So
Now
that was a
we
concern.
we are how many pacifiers do you have? Like a millions. Oh my
It's bad.
God.
We're not going through all of them, don't worry.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, that's okay. I'm learning. I think this is
It's
fabulous.
crazy. So these
Now
were
that's
actually the
cute.
pacifiers my daughter took.
Yeah, they're adorable.
So I thought that I thought they were ugly.
Oh,
They're
I
so
think it's
tacky.
the ugly color. I like the aqua. That's what I'm an
Do you?
aqua fan, so anything aqua catches
It's
my
yeah,
eye.
bright yellow and aqua and jungle. It's a lot going on. But
Yeah.
with these, you end up they catch like saliva and water up in there, and you can't clean them out. So they just breed yeast, bacteria,
Oh
mold.
no, does it have a hole in it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's
Nope.
horrible.
So yeah, so those like closed type pacifiers just soak stuff up, and you can't actually clean them out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then obviously we are all trying to get away from the microplastic as well now.
Yes. Can you
So
believe what a problem that
yeah.
is? Horrible problem.
So I was like, okay, those are some issues. And then there's been a big issue where with like this type of pacifier, babies are getting their fingers stuck in there, leading to swelling. Some babies have needed antibiotics because they got an infection from it. Like it just was like a whole thing. So the other thing that I learned is that pacifier companies, they're mostly made overseas, pacifiers.
Right.
and all over the world, and they only have to test them once a year.
We have
This
no
is going in a
testing.
newborn's mouth.
This is horrible. Like, I'm sorry, that is just not acceptable. I don't
Right.
understand that.
Because
Like,
think about it, the pacifier is in their mouth longer than anything else. And that's from like day one. You've got a 2 day old baby sucking for hours on that.
yeah,
Mhm.
I can't even imagine what we do to our children. That is, and what people don't even think about, and they're just shoving in their mouths.
So
So
I
scary.
became a pacifier safety expert.
I bet you did.
I sure did.
Well,
So it
actually,
went
that kind
from,
of gave you something to kind of think about, that kind of might have helped your recovery a bit because it was exciting for your brain
yeah,
to be in
yeah,
that
it
mode.
was
You liked learning and thinking it through.
exactly. So it was, yeah, it was a very like healthy thing for me to, start diving into. So I was like, okay, we know these issues with pacifiers. I'm going to correct all of it. So I ended up picking the top rated pacifier shapes and working with experts on that. The cap and shield. So the pacifier nipples are actually silicone.
Oh, silicone,
So
yeah,
yeah, so much safer. You don't have to worry about it. You can boil it like it can
yeah,
take the dishwasher. You're
yeah,
good
it
to go.
can, yeah, silicone.
And then the cap and shield are actually made out of this is recycled paper with a plant-based
Oh,
resin. So
wow,
it's
not
totally
plastic.
dishwasher safe too.
Wow, but there's no
Non-toxic.
handle. Why do they have that handle on pacifiers anyway?
I'm personally not a fan. A lot of it is to attach a pacifier clip, which is another safety issue.
Oh, bad, bad, bad. Yeah, don't do
Yeah,
that.
so that's actually been part of my company position. People are like, I want to see your take on a pacifier clip. And I'm like, I refuse to sell them. As a company, accessories are great extra margin and phenomenal for your bottom line. I refuse to sell those. They're not
Yeah,
safe. There
I
have been
I
so many
agree with you.
incidents.
I never use them.
Yep.
Anything that could choke the child is
Yep.
a huge issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing what we are doing. So you'll note, like you see how big that like cap is. So assembled or not, none of the components are smaller than that choking hazard size. So on
Right.
purpose, they're all like,
Big. They're all bigger.
yeah, like you see how big that
Yeah.
nipple component is
Yeah.
compared
Nobody can
to
swallow that.
how small these
Tiny.
nipples are. Yeah, so that's
That
why.
was
So
that was
they're
really
still
that
large.
was brilliant. So the base is bigger, therefore it can't be choked on.
Can't actually be
Gotcha.
choked on.
Gotcha.
So then they come in, and it was funny. I had people vote like what colors they want, all of that. Black was popular. I didn't think people would want a black
Can't
pacifier.
imagine. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like an
Yeah.
Oreo cookie.
And then they're all engravable. So I'm engraving them.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Mhm. So you can do
Oh,
baby's name. You can, put like baby Smith. Like this one says baby deOliveira. You can do like the monogram on
so
it.
how are you it's a soft because it's a recycled paper. So you
So
have an
it's got
engraver.
it's got that plant-based resin, so it's totally non-porous, totally hard. So you can throw that in the dishwasher, boiling water, totally clean it, sanitize it, but it is easy to engrave.
Now tell me what you named it because we started out talking about names.
Your name.
So tell me about how you decided on the company name.
So the name is Soothe Beginnings. So
Love it.
I
Love it.
thank you. I was playing with names, trying to come up with something. And that one just kind of kept coming back to me because it explains what it does, but it's not too specific that, you can't expand out the line. So it was descriptive enough. And then I started Googling and like nothing was popping up. So SEO is already working in my favor when you
Exactly.
type it.
Unique
Exactly.
products.
Exactly. So it's all Soothe Beginnings is what comes up. So this is the Soothe Beginnings pacifier starter kit. Um, and I think you'll enjoy this. I love a good presentation. When you get the box itself is like very unassuming, but you open it and it's like a
Oh,
wallpaper on the inside.
branded. Oh, honey, that's beautiful.
And even our packaging is
Oh,
compostable. This is
oh,
paper. So this is compostable, recyclable, all of,
Lindsay,
plastic
that's
free.
beautiful.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. And it is really part of the brand. It's so important. It really gives you credence
Yeah.
to the product. Like I love that. That's really that's some proof, social proof. It's
It's
got
a
beautiful
very
packaging.
it's a very unique pacifier. It doesn't look like your
It looks more
typical pacifier.
organic. Yeah, more organic.
Yes. And it has that luxury feel. Like it physically feels different. Not that plasticky. So it needed to be
Can you believe you're a
this.
pacifier engineer?
I know. I know. I don't know what happened in my life, but it's been quite the journey for sure. So yeah, so it's
I
been
mean,
a long ride.
what a beautiful thing to give to the world, the ability to soothe.
Yeah.
So how are the sales going? Tell me about that part of your business because that's the
Yeah.
hardest part. It's easy to not easy to create a product, but now you've hatched a baby.
Right.
Now the world needs to find it because you put a
Right.
lot of effort into this and money and time and thought and energy. So tell me about
So
that next step because
yeah. So
that's
the
a hard
physical
journey.
product, it's gone in a way I did not anticipate. So the physical product itself is launching in 6 weeks. So we are pre-shipping right now. Um, I have ended up with, and it kind of like came to me. I was giving a talk on pacifier safety at a pediatric sleep consultant conference. And
Wow.
they were all coming up to me like, are you doing affiliates?
Oh,
Like,
lovely.
so I ended up
Yeah.
with baby experts. I have IBCLCs, pediatric dentists, myofunctional
Oh,
therapists,
yeah.
doulas, sleep consultants. I even have like a financial doula. They are affiliates, like actual baby experts as affiliates.
I know some of those people I should connect you with.
Love them. They're
Yeah.
they're my besties.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those are my people because everything I did was leading from like an evidence-based angle.
Yes.
And
The scientific part of it, it gives credence to your product.
yeah. So, it's an option that you can feel better about giving your child because there's a lot of really cool health benefits to pacifiers. Like, I don't know if you know this, but NICU babies go home from the hospital faster with the use of pacifiers
Well,
because that
it's a natural
practice.
thing. It's that sucking. That sucking is really,
Yes.
and it probably
Mhm.
has something to do with like your brain triggers your stomach for you to eat. So therefore, Nick babies would be eating more because that sucking is, doing a little bit of its own work, right?
Yeah, it puts them in that rest and digest state, but you're
Yeah.
also working out the muscles for feeding. And they're
Right.
practicing that suck, breathe, swallow mechanism and pattern. So when you are introducing food, it's becoming more efficient, but being in that rest and digest state, it helps with the weight gain, their oxygen levels. It's just really, really cool. And they're pain relievers.
it's a natural thing to be that.
Mhm.
It's just like it's in our DNA. I guess
Yeah,
if it wasn't, that ability to eat would be diminished because like what you said, the muscles wouldn't grow in the cheeks and the mouth and the tongue. And I do know
yeah,
about myofunctional therapy, so I totally understand this is an issue.
yeah. Yeah, it's
So, okay, so think about
oh,
this. If I was, now this goes way back, but if I was a child who my mother just probably like stuck me in a corner, like she was not a fan of me. But I wonder if that at birth, if you don't get that muscle growth, then if that later on I ended up in myofunctional therapy. I have an issue right now, my something else, but I wonder if that was related somehow or another. So it's
hmm.
something I can blame my mother on because blah.
Well, they actually found so a wider, deeper latch, like a nursing latch, is actually much better for oral development. And extended nursing is actually really good for oral development
I
and
believe that.
working those muscles properly,
Yeah,
versus a lot of the bottles on the market have that like super skinny latch, and it's
yeah,
more of like a straw like suck.
yeah.
and it's not
Yeah.
working the muscles properly.
That
And that
little
is
tiny,
actually,
that little tiny nipple on a bottle just doesn't do
yes.
it for myofunctional therapy. It needs to be kind of in the mouth, more like the pacifier shape, and that would really help. I'm going to blame my mother now for that. That's a good thing to know. That's really a good thing to know. Seriously, it's all connected. Like
It's
we know that,
wild.
right? Like,
It's wild.
my children were breastfed, so they, as long as they possibly could do, probably like a year. So I get that. Like they all turned out fine, but
Yep.
me, not so much, because my mother pretty much stuck me in a corner, made me fend for myself at birth. That's pretty much what it
Oh
was.
my gosh. Yeah,
That's kind of
it's
true. It's sad but true. Oh, okay. So
well,
the next
look
part,
at you
so now
now,
you have,
Miss, business owner. So
yeah, it's okay. So so now you're being found
yeah,
and you're about to launch.
yeah. So we have the Soothe Beginnings physical product for sale and pre-orders on the website. We're also doing pacifier nipple subscription because pacifier nipples are supposed to be swapped out every like 4 to 6 weeks for safety and hygiene.
I think so
So
too.
yeah, so we are just letting parents automate that. And most parents actually aren't even aware of that fact. So that's what the QR code in the box is. It brings you to the subscription page. And I didn't put any writing because I'm testing out. I'm like, let's see if curiosity gets people. So that's what the QR code is. It brings you
We
to the
all love us a
subscription
good
page.
QR code.
We do, especially if it doesn't say what it is. I'm like, what is it? I need to know. So curiosity is always a fun one to
I
test out
love
on
that.
people.
It's
So
the
we've got
adventure.
the product and the physical product subscription. We also are building out, which I haven't really like released anything on. We are building out, I say we, it's me. I am Sue's
The
Pancake.
royal we.
The royal we. So we are doing digital subscription in courses from actual experts. So I have a lactation consultant that's offering a lactation class on there. I have a sleep consultant, a potty training expert that we actually took her potty training course and it was fantastic. We potty trained in a week with 0 tears, zero.
Wow.
Oh, it was
Wow. That's
great.
some magic.
It was
Magical things.
amazing because I tried potty training on my own, and let me tell you, all my instincts were wrong. It became a power struggle. It was just terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I gave it a few months, and then I took her course and totally different approach. And here we are, totally potty trained a week later. So her course will be on there. I also have a car seat technician that, think about it, you have your partner set up the car seat when you're like in your third trimester. They'll read the instructions, maybe enough to see how to set it up, but they stop at what if their head flops over? How do I tighten the straps? Like they don't do that stuff. So what happens is you're now trying to take your newborn baby home and you don't know what the heck you're doing. So we have a video that you can literally watch in the parking lot, how to strap in a newborn baby safely to get them home, how to know the straps are tight enough, all of that.
It's so
So
scary. All of a sudden
it
you're
is.
in charge of a human
It
being
is.
that's this big. I remember
Yeah.
that feeling of, oh my freaking God, we are clueless as to what to
Yes.
do. It was way before the internet and all that, but it was like, yeah, I had no one to even ask or to a friend that even had a child. So I was on my own. I get
Yep.
that
And
feeling
then
of, oh my
what I
God.
see and what spurred this whole digital bring in the experts thing, I'm in a lot of like mommy Facebook groups. There is so much unsafe and misinformation.
Oh yes, for sure.
And
For
yeah,
sure.
in the mom community, we're not saying you were a bad mom because you did A, B, C, or D. We're not at all. New evidence comes along, you learn like
Yes.
it we are doing, I firmly believe you're doing the best you can with the information you have at the time, also given with whatever your experiences are. So
Mhm.
we have to have respect for that. And with respect for that, survivorship bias is so incredibly dangerous. Where people are saying, oh, no, this product was a lifesaver. And like they get mad if you say, no, babies have actually passed
Died
away
from
from
that.
said
Yeah.
products. Yeah, and so there's been a huge issue in and then the other thing in those Facebook groups is that admins don't let actual experts talk
Oh,
or respond back or give them real resources. Like you get in trouble. It's a whole thing. So that's why I
you
was
have
like,
a
you know
face,
what?
you have your own Facebook page, right? What is it
I
called?
do. I do.
Sue?
So yeah, empowered pregnancy prep, the group, because of everything I'm seeing in these Facebook groups and being surrounded by baby experts all day, every day. And I look at the Safer Products website every single day. Um, I'm a big advocate for real information, evidence-based information, and I want to help new parents. You don't know what you don't know.
Kind of the
And
truth. You're looking for the truth without
yeah,
all the front. So are you also on Instagram? I want to make sure that your Instagram is also mentioned.
yeah,
If you
so my Instagram is Soothe Beginnings. I'm very active on TikTok, so Soothe Beginnings TikTok.
Oh,
But
good to know.
yeah, but I'm in beta testing. I have four couples right now that I am testing I'm basically prepping their pregnancy.
Yeah.
So like a wedding planner, but for pregnancy.
I love it. That's really could be in demand. Even baby names, people that pick baby names for other people,
A
$100 an
job.
hour. It's a
That's a job.
serious. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I
Like
mean, yeah, I was like, all right, if someone can make a career to that, that's incredible. You know what's interesting too is with the pregnancy prep, I'm noticing the mom wants the baby registry help. Like I build the registry with them and the like breast pump ordering and accessories help and all of that. The dads are the ones that are texting me the most to get support so they can support their partner because they don't want to stress out their
ugh,
pregnant
it's
partner.
so that's so lovely. Like
It is.
really to have that
These
is
dads
a
are
big
amazing.
deal. My son was a really great dad. Like he's a super dad, super dad. So I saw him and I was amazed at what he came forth with, like that was nothing he was taught. He came
Yeah.
up with all that on his own. So something
They
that could
want
really
help
support
and
dad. Yeah, I mean,
they don't know how.
100%.
Um, yeah, it's funny. So when I'm with tinkering there, I'm realizing so at the prepper, it's mostly the dads that are like, can we do this and like sign up and like how do I how do I because they feel like they're getting help and they did something to contribute and did something to help.
Yes,
And
yes.
so they're more willing to actually ask for that help, which is really interesting. And with Soothe Beginnings with the pacifier, it's the experts that are onboarding um, clients for purchasing, and it's the grandparents. Grandparents are going nuts over this. They love the customization feature, but the fact that it's interchangeable, they're like, "Oh my God, I wish I had that." So that's it's been really cool to see experts and, the pros, the parents that have been are like all about it. Has been really, really cool because I thought it would be overwhelmingly new moms. And it's like the people that have been there, done that, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is what you need."
They can see the improvements. For many years, it's like for 2.5, 3 years, I was an assistant midwife and I taught childbirth and breastfeeding courses at a hospital in Houston that was
Yeah.
really for kind of indigenous, no, for like poor women that
Yeah.
couldn't go to classes. But it was amazing
Yes.
that I came up with this classes because I had read so many books. And after you read like 7 books, you're an expert on breastfeeding and childbirth. And then I took
Yep.
all the trainings and, really dug in. And I even did it
It's
bilingually. I
amazing.
I really believe that it was best to do as natural as possible. And that
Yeah.
word wasn't really getting out there. So I was a huge advocate for doing everything as much as you can to really
Yeah.
support the baby, support the mother. It was a big deal, a very big
Yeah.
deal. I loved it.
So in that whole process, I ended up becoming a certified breastfeeding counselor. And I needed to educate myself. I have a path. I'm like, I needed to do it. I wanted to do it. And we had a very traumatic end to our breastfeeding journey. So I was the mom battling postpartum depression. I had a baby with reflux that I ate a tomato. She screamed for 2 days.
Oh,
So I got to a point like I just stopped eating. But in my head, it's breast is best, breast is, and like, breastfeeding. has all these amazing benefits. So like
Yeah, yeah.
there's so much pressure to breastfeed,
Yes, there is.
but
I'm sorry. Yeah.
in our situation, a
It
healthy
was
mom mattered more.
exactly. And it's not going to be the end of the world.
It,
So it's
it's
better for
not.
you. Get the
It's
mom
not.
calm down, get everything going,
Exactly. And
feed the
if it
baby,
works out for mom and
whatever.
baby to
Yeah.
nurse,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
If it's not what mom wants because of past trauma or she just needs
Right.
to get her body, it's there are
Yeah.
so many different aspects. And then the other thing, our society is not breastfeeding friendly. We are not
True
keeping moms'
that.
babies together that
That
first
is so
year.
true. That is very
And
true.
oh man, when I was going through the breastfeeding course, the bias of like, but this is the science, like you have to do it, was really disturbing. I had to walk away from my computer multiple times, actually.
Yeah, I'm
There
sorry.
was a whole portion on minority women and how they breastfeed at much lesser rates. And if they knew the education behind it, they would do it. I'm like, I'm sorry, but in today's society, breastfeeding is a luxury.
It is. It is
It
because if
is.
you have to almost buy a pump. Women are busy and they're working, and so what are you going to do? And I know I
And being
saw my
separated from baby hurts your
yes,
supply. And
yes,
so it's like,
yes.
are we not talking about the fact that some women have to go back to work 2 weeks after giving birth?
I
And
mean, we are not a society that really supports women.
we're
Period.
not. We are not. And it
It's
was
the
just it.
antithesis of that.
Yeah. And the biases in that breastfeeding world were just, that's not our real world. I'm sorry. It's not. If they knew the information that, no, if they had adequate time with their babies, they might be able to.
That's
But you know
yeah,
what?
that's the better thing. You know what? Even if they had the right nipple,
Yes.
like your nipples, that could be at least this is helping your child. Not only are you feeding it, but you're helping these
Working the
muscles
muscles.
grow.
Yeah.
So very, that's another whole point. Okay, you can't breastfeed, no problem. If you need to use formula, I at least have a great nipple for you that will really be beneficial. Another
Yeah.
part of the story.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm totally pro, like when I go through consulting with couples, I very much put it out there. I'm like, all right, you're breastfeeding, you're bottle feeding, you're combo, what you doing? Like it's a no, you never know what someone's coming to the table with. You never know what their fears are, what their reality looks like. If actually getting sleep through the night will change a mom's mental health, then do that.
Right.
That's so important. It was interesting. I had a conversation with a lactation consultant that I adore, absolutely adore. And being so into that lactation world, she actually lost sight of that for a hot minute.
Mm.
And she had sent some resources over to me. And the approach to it was, this is what can happen if you give your baby formula type of a approach. And I called her, and she's somebody I felt totally comfortable. And I called her and I was like, hey, let me just tell you my story. I told her my story. She's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I had no idea that happened to you. I said, it's okay. It's all good. I said, this is why I became a certified breastfeeding counselor, because of the stigmas. And I didn't need to know the facts. And some of those words on the page were like a knife in my chest, like I'm a bad
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah.
And I
I
said,
get that. That's you were very very empathetic to the point of you were there.
I was there, and I made her see my experience and story. And I said, and at the end of the day, me just being alive was better for my daughter than
Yes.
breastfeeding.
Yes, of course. Of
And she's like,
course.
I got so into the, well, if they only knew this fact or that fact. I'm like, I get it. When you become such the expert, you lose your ability to just connect with people and make the information digestible. Like for me, the latex pacifiers make me an angry human, but I
Yeah.
try not to be. So I don't know if you've seen, but I have t-shirts that I sell that have pacifiers on the nipples. And our slogan is, ask me about my nipples. That is to start the conversation. Because I'm not going to come barreling at you with, well, if you knew that pacifier in your
Right.
baby's mouth, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Right. 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 Right.
No,
Right.
no, we're not
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
attack or judge other
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, not at all. I try to make it as approachable of a conversation because not everybody wants to hear it anyways, and that's okay too.
Or they've heard it already and they're sick of hearing it.
Exactly, exactly.
We
So
can't. We
we don't.
can't be. We can't be controlling the whole world. Like, but we can
Right.
give them information and they can filter it in as they want. There's all kinds of reasons that people aren't breastfeeding, like, or
Right.
whatever. Like, there's just everybody is so different. The world is so complicated. So
It is. It is. And I honestly, I was actually relieved I was forced to stop. It
there you
it
go.
was good it came. It was for me, it was and my daughter, because this poor kid was screaming,
You're right.
it needed to happen.
Yeah.
Um and it happens, but you know what? You don't even need a reason.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's also
okay.
it's not
I
my
agree.
business. It's not my
I
business.
agree.
I don't ask
Totally
people
agree.
why or what if I don't like when I go through like you're breastfeeding, you're bottle feeding, your combo, what you doing? I don't need to know why. That's up to you. That's your business. If you want to talk about it, cool. If not, whatever. Like,
Yeah. It's
you
their
know,
own journey. We're surprised that so many kids survive. Like,
right? I know.
so many horrible parents out there. I don't know how these kids survive. It's like, oh my
I
God, kids
know.
surviving. You
I
see
mean,
them.
it's funny too, like looking at like the car seats from like 40 years ago. Like,
Or yeah, we had car seats, but you didn't have to use them as long as they do now. Like that
yeah,
was the other thing. I don't know, And then before that, with me, I didn't have a car seat growing up. There was nothing like that. We slept on the back behind the seat where the window came down, and we slept up there because it was nice and warm, or on the floorboards. Like,
yeah.
it's crazy shit.
And that's where things get wild is with survivor bias. People are like, well, we did this and we were fine. Or I did this with my kid and we were fine. A lot of kids were not fine.
A lot of kids weren't. That's why we have helmets on when we ride bikes now.
Exactly. We are learning thing, and that's the cool thing is having respect for things are always evolving, changing, growing, and we just kind of have to be a little bit moldable. And
And like
that's
you invented a new product to solve a problem that you found. So now we're moving things forward, right? Like,
like
yeah. So what are your next steps? We have 5 more minutes and I want to hear your next steps because the journey has been big. Like you have taken us down a path and you have shown us
crazy.
why you created something and that the invention is it really did solve a problem for you in multiple ways. Like I get
Yeah,
that. Like it really gave you a reason and I'm proud of you for that because some people wouldn't be product designer. They wouldn't think about, oh, how can I help this and
yeah,
help others. So you've really
yeah,
taken this on as your raison d'etre. I really am proud of you for that. That's a big deal.
yeah.
Seriously.
So physically shipping the product in 6 weeks.
Yeah, you've got your website up and going,
Yep,
and
website
people
up
can
and
order
going.
from there. They can order
People can
from
pre-order from there already. Yep. We are going to be loading it up on Amazon in September as well. Now, if you want the customized one with the engraving, you do have to get that through the Soothe Beginnings website. But it'll be on Amazon. I am going to, I just did a TV show recently as well that is
which
now
one?
airing.
Tell
The
me.
Blocks.
Okay,
I did The
yay!
Block.
Because
And
okay, so I'm in season 14. You must be 13.
I was 12.
You were 12. Okay. So how did the blocks change your life? Because it definitely did for me. I would say it really did for me. Tell me about
Oh,
that. I would love to hear about your blocks journey.
okay. So I went into it for giggles, like to apply. Like, I'm not going to get cast, but whatever. So then I got cast. I had a friend that did the season before me. He's like, you need to go. The education alone. I was like, okay, cool. Let me go into this open minded to the experience, the people, the education. So that's how I went into it.
So you went
Would
to
you like a?
Tulsa? Y'all were in
Oh,
Tulsa.
we were Tulsa. Do you want a spoiler?
Yeah.
I won.
I don't even know what to say,
Yeah.
only because I understand how big that is. I got on the stage one time So I know that that is hard. Now, we had
Yeah.
112 people in our group. So the even getting on the stage one time was one in 100,
Yeah.
like it was 122 something. So
It was
I
wild. It
get
was
this,
wild.
Lindsay, that it must have been the biggest thing to be standing there and going, "Oh my God, I won this," because
Cried.
that I bow to you, girl. Like you're my queen. Like I don't
I
even know how to even
was,
say.
yeah, I was just open-minded to the experience, and I took a risk. Every pod challenge, I took a risk. And
We should have started with this conversation because we only have a few more minutes. It's like, oh my God,
yeah,
like
it was,
seriously.
I
I
threw one of my
I want to hear
consults.
more about Wes. I want to hear more about this journey. We almost need a version two because this is a big deal. Like
It
seriously,
was
I'm
it was
so
crazy.
proud of you.
I found myself on the blocks. I found
Yeah,
myself, I found my
because you
business.
also were are with a community of others, and I think that really helps cement the whole deal. It's like you really feel like, oh, I'm not an outlier. I'm
Yeah.
one of a group.
I walked away with a six-figure investor. It totally
So
changed my life.
happy.
Totally
I
changed my
am
life.
so happy for you. I
It
am
was
so
awesome.
happy for you.
Yeah.
I am
So I was
so happy for you.
Yeah, I was one of the top three winners, and I didn't. So the education alone worth the experience. The network
I
was
gotta
the
now I
best
gotta turn on
surprise.
Amazon and go watch you.
Yeah,
Is
it was
it's on, is it it's
wild.
on now, right? I think it just went live.
Ours isn't on Prime yet. It's on Facebook Watch at the moment. It's on the Blocks website. I was a lot in the episode that just aired this week. Episode 4, I had my first blocks off, which I was nervous. And it had my intro. Episode 5, I had like an interview, like a judge's breakfast, another blocks off that was really fun. If you watch that video, was hilarious. I got on stage and I said, I'm Lindsay deOliveira. I'm the woman with the everyone yells nipples. Wes goes, well, that was adorable.
Because he just had a
The-
brand new baby. So he,
exactly. It was
he was
his
probably,
first season back since that
oh,
actually
that was
when we
great. I
filmed.
did send
Yeah.
him some little jewelry for his little
Yeah.
daughter. It was really cute.
Episode 4, I like flashed my shirt, my
Uh,
Soothe Beginning shirt. So yeah, it was fun.
you
It
are
was a lot of
so
fun.
cute. You are so adorable. I am so excited to watch the show now. I'm going to be digging in. And our time is really up. So we've got to like find an end to this. But I have to say, Lindsay, I bow to you. I am proud of you. I honor
Thank
you.
you.
I'll do anything to support you. I know I just accidentally bought little charms that were little pacifiers. They haven't arrived yet, so I haven't seen them.
Oh,
But it was from an old warehouse, and I'm like, well, those are kind of cute. I know people that are having babies, so I'll have to look at them when they get to them and see what all I got.
that's funny.
And we can work with you on having a little nipple earring or something cute. So,
You're so fun. I
what a
love your jewelry.
oh, thank
I
you.
thoroughly enjoy. Before I was an optician, I was in jewelry. So
Ah, ah,
I love unique and interest. I love it. So
and as in your optician world, you can understand this. I'm actually blind in this eye. It was
really,
yeah, from a husband that was abusive. So
oh
I have a lens that so my eye looks a little weird, but I'm fine. About my brain balances all out. It does.
you'd
I
be
can totally
surprised.
see
It's
3D. The
our brains are
yes,
amazing.
our brains are
Amazing.
amazing. Amazing how it really, even though there's not anything there, it does feel like there's something there. And it I see in 3D. Who can do
Yeah.
that without that? So we have a lot in common. We have the
Yes.
breastfeeding in common. We have the eye thing in common.
Yep.
We have having children and breastfeeding and all the things because I saw it all through my son and his wife. They had lots of issues. She couldn't really
Yeah.
nurse. So she had to pump everything and they worked really hard. I bow to
It's
her.
tough.
That was a huge thing.
Yeah.
Very hard to
Exclusively
do
pumping
that.
is a lot.
It's a lot. And, it really makes us feel like, like a little bit less human during that experience. But then once that's over, it's like,
Yes.
Okay, fine. I'm free again because
Yeah.
you're really tethered to that machine once that gets
Yeah.
going. So
Not owning your own body in that
yeah,
process
very
is
hard. Kids are a challenge. Like, I don't know. My other two sons didn't have children, and I'm like, I understand. Yeah, I understand. It's okay. They're a lot of work.
anytime someone's like, I don't want kids, I'm like, it's fine. I get that.
Don't, yeah, no judge. Like, please don't have kids because if you don't
You
want
do
them
you.
and you get them and then you're stuck with them, it's like, oh my God, what did I do?
There's no one doing that.
No, you
None.
can't send them back. Oh my God, my blocks are queen. I'm so proud of you. You don't even know. Like,
Thank you.
I got up there for the blocker challenge one time and I kind of flubbed it. And so I like took the microphone and I'm like, okay, let's talk group. Like, I am here because of you. And I like just had my own little
Oh
moment with
yeah.
the whole
My first
group.
one was so bad on stage. It was so bad. And then the next day I got up there and I was like Miss
You
Nichols. Like it
nailed it.
was,
You nailed it. It
yeah.
was hard.
Yes.
The content was hard. Like it was a
It
lot.
was.
And I would love to just, oh my God, we have to talk again about
I
this
do.
because I'm sitting here in my own little bubble and I don't really have anybody to talk to about my blocks experience. My husband really didn't want to hear about it. So I
They don't
would
get it.
be,
They don't
yeah,
get
they
it.
don't get it.
You and
It's
I can
very
talk
hard.
block because I love hearing other blocksters what they walked into it thinking, how that week progressed, and what they walked away from it, and
Hey,
how that
let's
went
do
after.
that. Let's have a blocks like let's just like randomly find our like 10 boxer friends and
Yeah.
have just a big Zoom call where we're all kind of like reliving it once again now that y'all are kind of going live and things are kind of going
Yeah.
up. And let's just have like a Zoom call where we're,
Yeah.
10 of our favorite bloxers and go, hey, let's just do a little chat because it does
Yeah.
reconnect us and those memories come flooding back of that week that we dedicated to our business and learned new friends and really made a difference.
Yeah.
So I would be honored, Lindsay,
That'd be a
if
lot of
we could
fun.
do that.
Let's
Yeah,
do
and
it.
it could be from all kinds of different episodes because I have met
Mm.
many other people. And what the Bloxer gave to me is a lot of other companies to work with or,
Yeah.
and design for. And I've really had fun doing that. I can't even count how many it's been now, but it's a
Wow.
lot. So it's been a wonderful journey, the blocks. So I'm so glad that you really took that on as a way to
Yes.
really open up your business acumen and really step it up and forward.
Are you doing grad school?
No, because I have a lot on my plate right now. I have a lot on my plate and a full-time job
Understood.
on top of all my other business. So
Perfect.
I got things going on. Are you doing the graduate school?
I'm going in December. There's 3 baby businesses going.
Oh, it's going to be the baby challenge. I love
It's
it.
I'm very excited. It'll be a
It's
lot of
a
fun.
stepping into the baby world I think would be the hardest world out there, and so that's another reason why I really bow to you because I understand working with all the experts and to come up with something that will really help a baby could be really changing a lives of other parents. And so your
Yeah,
story is really good. I hope your story is written and condensed somewhere on your website so that others can understand what you've
it will
been
be.
through.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it will
that's
be.
every
We're
yeah.
yeah, we're that's one of the things we're doing when we do our brand photo shoot. It will be a videography element to it.
Story. Oh yeah, to kind of tell your story. I love it. Well, we have to go, Lindsay, because we're over time and it's hard to get things that are over an hour into the cloud. I don't know. It's just complicated. My guy always says, keep it under an hour. It's like impossible. So she found the last five
When
minutes
it's
we
a
were
good combo, it's
the
hard
real
to, I know.
the big reveal was left for the last of the hour. So that's okay. Thank you so much. And do you love the idea of we're all getting together? Like we should find a date and
Let's
we
do
would
that.
all
I absolutely love that idea. So our season gets together all the time. And
oh
look, we do quarterly Zooms for our
ah.
season. Like our season bonded
Yeah, y'all were a
really
lot
intensely.
smaller. When it's over 100 people, it's really hard to bond with 100 people.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, no,
I didn't meet a lot of them. It was
we
too big.
had life-changing relationships form in our
I
season.
wanted that so bad. Like that's what I was there for. Like seriously.
Yeah.
And
You
I
were
really
14?
Yeah, and I really tried to really make sure that I sat with somebody new each time and really tried to like
Yeah.
dig in, took pictures, posted online.
Yep.
Like I did everything I could while I
Yeah.
was there.
It's a lot. There's a lot to take in. There's a lot going on. It's funny. One of the camera guys, he goes, "Hey, let me see this." And I was like, "My dad owns a nipple factory out of St. Louis," and I was like, "So I'm actually making my product totally in the U.S. and I was looking for a new nipple factory, and that's who I use now."
You were meant to be there. It was meant to be.
It changed. It
Seriously.
changed everything.
Yeah.
Changed everything.
It was what to Well, your story has been great and I've enjoyed this hour. And now we're connected forever because we have all of these bonds. And I'm seriously, you can DM me, email me, text me anytime, 24 hours a day, and I'm here for you. And I can just be like the grandmother. I'm Sugar. I actually just wrote a PBS TV show
Did
called
you?
Grandma. Yeah, it's called Grandma Sugar. Sugar. Yeah, Grandma Sugar, and it's really cute. It's like an artistic grandmother. See, that's one of my paintings, who's also a tech expert. But then, like, everybody comes into her house every day, and they have these little adventures and talk about different places and things going to happen because of the tech involved. And so, I don't know. PBS will pick it up, but they've been hit with it, so we'll see. It's kind of fun. Like, just to think of it was fun. Just to write it out was fun. The episodes are fun. I'm a good writer, so if you need a
What
writer,
I
that's
will
what I'm
say
doing.
is our generation is lacking involved grandparents overall. And
It's
it is
hard.
something we so growing up, we had our grandparents heavily
Yes,
involved.
yes. We lived
And
in our grandparents' house. They were our savior.
yeah, and that's
Seriously.
something we all want. I'm one of the lucky few that like my parents half live with us. They drive in 6 hours every week to help me so I can
I
work.
actually bought a house in between where I live now and where my grandkids are, which is in Houston. I'm in Austin, so that we could join in the middle. We bought a ranch and have a house, and I decorated it for my little grandkids. It's wow. Everything is about the wow for a little kid. And now they're moving. They have to move. I'm apoplectic. I can barely breathe. I'm like gonna miss my grandkids so much. So don't even get me on that path. They're moving to Utah for a job. It's got to happen. So
Mm.
anyway, it's what it is.
Yep.
I'll just become the Zoom grandma for now and go
Yeah.
visit lots because that's all we have to do.
You know what? We're in a day and age. Thank goodness for FaceTime and Zoom and
And they're into all that. They understand what the TV is and how we can, they understand that.
yeah.
They're savvy too.
Yeah.
So because they've had a billion pictures taken of them every day of their life from before they were born even. So they're part of that generation that's going to be very narcissistic because it's all about the picture. Oh, smile.
Yep.
They know. Oh, get
I
this.
get it. I get that. So
That's how
funny.
they are. But they're cute too. So I'll take those pictures and then I run them
They know
through
it.
all kinds of filters and do all kind of add things and stickers and make them cute little things and books and all that stuff. But it is. I love it. So it's part of my life. So anyway, Lindsay, we got to get off. We're over time. We are friends forever. And thank you, thank you, thank you. This will be up and live in a couple of days, but I'll let you know. And I'll make sure that I can find all your links. Can I find them on your Instagram page? Or they all your links are there or your
Yeah,
website?
I can, if you want, I can send you my link tree link
Yeah, and a picture
because
of either your product or you. That would be great. So I can
I'll
include
send you
it.
all the thing.
Okay. Well, thank you for being on my podcast, Jewelry as Your Side Hustle. It also includes other entrepreneurs. So please find me on social media, Sugar Gay Isber, and it has all the links to everything. Be on my gayisber.com and you can join my group and become part of my group, the Sugar Group. And thank you, Lindsay. You can find Lindsay at Soothe Beginnings on .com and on Facebook and on Instagram, etc. We'll have all those links below. So find us and thank you, Lindsay, for this hour. It's been a pleasure and such a big thing. I just can't even believe. So we are friends forever, and I'm very proud of you. That's what I have to say. As a
Thank
grandmother, I'm
you.
very proud of you. So thank you for making your baby's life better.
Thank you. I adore talking to you. So thank you.
It was a lot of fun. Have a great day, and thank you, thank you, thank you.